What is happening, guys? Thank you so much for joining me on Vicious Whispers. Today we have episode 20. We will be listening to chapter 13 of the Brightside audiobook. Very long chapter, but also one of my favorites, and one of the hardest scenes to write, part of that chapter. We will get into that later. First, a little rundown on what's been going on with me. Yeah, and I'm going to keep it kind of short, not only because it's a long chapter, but because I need to go do some fucking jiu-jitsu. I didn't do any last week. Had been considering it, just didn't have enough time. So this week I will go and try not to embarrass myself. We'll see. Either way, I know it's going to be good. It's going to be awesome, just like last time. So even if it's difficult, will be exactly what I need. Been doing yoga a lot, downy yoga. In fact, this weekend I'm going to be doing a meditation workshop, or I don't know, it's like a 3-hour workshop, the first of a 3-part series with instructor Jesse and a psychotherapist. And it's going to go into detail on how each of the poses is helping with either anxiety, stress, or depression. I'm not sure what tomorrow's is, but I know it will be beneficial. So that is going on. Yesterday I had a really good session. My balance is getting a lot better, able to do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do before, and at the same time also accepting that my right side fucking sucks compared to my left. There's a big difference, but it's not a big deal. My biggest problem in yoga, I think, is trying to be too competitive with myself, with others, and so I'm trying to let that shit go. But oh well, keeps me going. Other stuff going on. I made the terrible mistake of getting Invisalign braces. Those fucking suck. I had no idea how much it was going to hurt and just be a pain in the ass. I was like, oh, they're invisible. Just put in trays. I was like, nope, I got all kinds of shit on my teeth now, and my jaw is always fucking hurting. But small price, I guess, to pay for having straight teeth. My bottom teeth are all fucked up. I actually remember the day that I twisted my tooth, had it on a double mouthpiece, a good mouthpiece. I was sparring and boxing in Vegas against a professional boxer with over 40 fights, Rocky Gannon. I think he had 40 fights at the time. And he nailed me with a fucking good shot that actually twisted my tooth. And so now, that's caused a lot of other problems. Maybe my teeth would have been jacked up anyhow. So I'm trying to get that fixed. We will see if that happens. It's making me not eat edibles anymore, which kind of makes me mad, because you're not supposed to eat gummies. But my good friend, not my good friend, but my friend suggested that I melt them in tea, and so that's working. And I'm also vaporizing a lot more too. So I've been happy with that. Definitely glad I've gone back to using cannabis. Maybe it's not entirely, the best thing for me, but I enjoy it. I'm going to continue doing it. It's been helping with writing, relaxing, everything else. So fuck it. I think the benefits are better than the cons. I think last time I mentioned that I was going to be going to a dance with my daughter. I did do that. We had a lot of fun. It's also the most uncomfortable I've been all year. I need to get this shit figured out. Dancing, fuck man, it is painful. I wouldn't want to watch me, but it's even worse feeling these emotions, which is crazy. And my wife says, like, I have rhythm. I could dance, but it's just some fucking mental block. So going to be working on that. Or at least I say that I should be working on that. Who knows if I'm actually going to do it. Maybe one of these days I'll take classes with my wife. My wife will love that. I should do that for her. And I always talk about being uncomfortable, and that will do it. So we'll see. I'll let you know if that happens. Otherwise, I got a whole another year before I have to dance again. Yeah. I just saw the new covers come in today for Try Not to Die at Grandma's House and Try Not to Die in Brightside. Both of those look really good. Gonna have a couple tweaks, and then I think I'll be re-releasing Grandma's House with a new cover, and then I'll be putting out Try Not to Die in Brightside probably in about a month. I still need Donna to read the final parts, the final draft, which I'm getting back from my second editor, my father. And so I should have that soon. She should read it. Then we'll be able to put it out like in a month or so, the pre-release. And then the real release will be 3 months after or 2 months after. Trying to get everything done before the LA Times Festival of Books, booth there. And so it'd be cool to promote both of those along with Ain't No Messiah. So I've got to get to work on that. Other stuff I've done this week, I finally started a SoundCloud account. Guess I had one a long time ago. I put up 3 little tracks and never touched it again. But what I'm doing now is I'm trying to put up a new story every day. I will share these podcasts on there as well. Just slowly, like maybe every couple of days, I'll put one of the old ones out. And so I have that going on. That's supposed to be one of the best places to use for audible books, audiobooks, for marketing purposes. So that is what I'm checking out and trying, and it's cool. It's easy to share, easy to put on a website. It looks a lot better than what I have now. So hopefully in about a week I will have my website tuned up. I think it's already in good shape, but it'll look better with those clips. I had some cool stuff happen with Ain't No Messiah. It's still doing all right. Reviews are slow. If you have read it, please review it. Otherwise, my hands are tied. I can't do marketing. I can't do shit with it, really. So until it gets enough reviews, it's pretty much just sitting there. So if you have read it, if you know someone's read it, tell them to fucking review it. And if you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for? I think I was apologizing for this book way too much. I was thinking it was too, offensive or whatever. But then I realized that's the shit I like to read. That's stuff I like to watch. I was like, there's no reason to apologize for it. It is what it is. I think it's a good book. Other people are enjoying it. So I'm pretty excited about it. One of the things I noticed on this blog tour I'm doing is everyone loves the cover. Who did the design, who did the illustration. I just talked to him about it, asked him if he could do it. So he's going to make it to where the flames are moving. It's going to be this cool little video. I'll be able to use that for marketing purposes. So that should be awesome. That should be done in a week. As soon as he's done with that, he's currently reading Messiah, and I think I am going to have him do the audiobook. I've had T. Quillen do all my other ones, but he's still working on unlocking the cage. I want to get this one done. My buddy Jeff could use the work, and he's a very talented actor. So I think we will do a good job recording this book. So I'm waiting to see for sure how he feels once he's reading it. Hopefully he's really going to enjoy it and get into the character. But the nice thing is, he's down the street from me. We'll be able to talk a lot. I'll be able to kind of guide him through what I'm hearing. And so I think that should be a fucking pretty awesome deal. And then we'll have that audiobook probably finished within the next 2 months. Probably not going to start it for a couple of weeks because besides the animated commercial we're doing, he's also working on animation for Try Not to Die and Brightside. We have a 3-minute clip, which is the start of that book. He's adapting it from what really happens in the book, but it's pretty close to it. And that should be ready in about 2 months as well. So got a lot of work for him going on, and as soon as those are done, I'm probably just going to continue more and more and more. He's got this really cool dark comedy animation that I might work on with him. So we're going to talk about that or just do stuff with mine. And he's also writing Try Not to Die at Satan's Island. So that's one of the things that we want to really start breaking down probably in about 2 months. I told him don't even think about it now. I'm busy with all my shit. He's busy with all these things. And then once that's done, we can start really thinking about Satan's Island and going after that. Another thing that happened with one of the talks I had with another buddy, it's pretty cool how shit happens. Like, Jeff and I we're friends. We do some work together, but all that's come about because of our conversations and our talks and everything else. With my buddy Eugene, I've been having weekly talks with. Something really cool came out. I challenged him with a writing assignment. He fucking knocked it out of the ballpark. He gave it to me on the first day. I was expecting it a week later. And it was very good, very powerful. It was 1 page, but there was so much in that 1 page. I was like, this is awesome. He can definitely be a writer. I knew that about him already, that he has that ability. I don't know if he really knew it or if he really pursued it, but I challenged him. And because of that, not only do I think he's going to create something good on his own, but it made me realize I want to resurrect one of my old novels. I wrote it a long time ago, needs a fucking shitload of work. I looked it over this past year. I was going through old stuff, seeing what I could do with the novels, if I should just throw them away, totally delete them. I did that with a couple because they're just garbage. This one I knew there was some potential, but it was going to be a lot of work, and I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to handle it because there's 3 main characters. There's a hitman, a priest, and a corrupt cop. Actually 4 characters, because then there's also the huge guy that looks like a machine. The corrupt cop buys this baby when he's super, super little and starts tattooing him from the youngest age to look like a machine. Does all these augmentations on him and turns him into this fucking crazy ass killer. And then start the movie or book, whatever, is going to start on New Year's Eve, where this creature is being released on Times Square, New York. So pretty brutal, but when I was talking to Eugene and I saw his assignment, I was like, you know what I can do is simply break up this book into 4 different points of views. I'll put them out as different novellas, so one will be the cop, the fucked up dad. One will be this priest who's really doubting himself and religion. Another, and his mom is going to be killed. Another will be machine, and then the other will be the hitman. So I will have Eugene do one of those points of views. I'll have him, I'll guide him, I'll tell him what the story is, but I will have him take control of that character. We'll put out a novella from that character, and then one of each of the other ones as well. And then at the end, they'll all go together and just be put together in a box set, which will be a book. But I think I could do each of the characters, but I thought something like this would be way more fun. It'd be more fun to invite other people in to do it. It would be a little bit easier. I think it'll be a little bit more authentic. I'll still do all the editing along with a real editor. But so it will be my book, my story, with my friends helping out. I don't know who the other 2 people are going to be yet, but that shouldn't be a problem. And what's awesome is, even if someone doesn't have writing experience, I know a lot of authors that would never dream of bringing on people that have never written before. My friend Donna for Trying It Today and Brightside, the co-author, she hasn't written before. My buddy Anthony Johnson, not a writer. No one that's put out books or short stories or anything like that. But I know everyone has a story. I'm getting what I need out of them, and it's cool. So that is what's happening. My writing has been on point. I've been shooting for, I break every chapter pretty much into 3 scenes. It's going to be beginning, middle, and end. It's okay, there's 3 main things that happen in this chapter. And so every day I'm knocking out one of those 3 things. So about 3 days to write the chapter, then I'll go over all, maybe another day on each section. And so it takes me about a week to do a chapter. I'm on chapter 19, so I'm halfway through the book right now. So another 20 weeks, I will have a very, very solid draft of Beyond Brightside. I'm pretty happy with the story, getting excited about it. I did just write a very difficult scene. And in fact, I fucking stopped it because it was just too much. I was writing a rape scene of a 6-year-old boy and his point of view. So that fucking sucked because I know there's a guy that's trying to seduce him, and I know what that guy's fucking trying to do, and I know what's going to happen. And it's really painful to write. But I will, I did a good first pass. I left out some of the ending, and then I will go back on my next draft. Usually I like getting my first draft pretty solid, but in certain scenes like this one, I was like, you know what? It's too much emotionally right now, and it will be better once I go through. So giving myself permission to kind of jump ahead. But that's pretty much it as far as all that shit goes. Like I said, I need to run. I need to go do some jiu-jitsu. Try not to hurt myself. Try not to embarrass myself. And have fun. Connect with friends. Try to choke the motherfuckers. But before I get to split, we need to listen to this chapter. In fact, I'm not even going to listen with you guys. I already listened to it. I already know what happens. I wrote it too, so I definitely know what happens. I do know that this is a long one. I do know that it's worth sticking around for, though. It's we get to see what's up with Rachel. So we'll find out about Rachel. We'll hear more from Sharon. And then I'm just not even going to be here at the end of it. We'll just go straight out, and I will see you guys next week. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this chapter. You'll understand why it was very difficult to write, and you will be back next week. All right, guys. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy this story, and I will talk to you later. Peace.
Chapter 13. After sitting in the waiting room for an hour, Demarius brought me in and threw me in the chair. He asked Sharon if she wanted him to stick around. Sharon said no, it was fine. Demarius closed the door and I sat there staring at her stupid Zen waterfall. Sharon's mantra ran at full volume, caused my fist to clench. Unable to listen for another second, I said, "Why don't you just send me to the cabin?" "Is that what you want?" "Since when do I have a choice?" "You chose to go up to the roof, showing everyone that you were capable of a big F.U. to all of this." I didn't understand why Demarius had taken me and not the boots. I didn't see one of those assholes the entire walk over. They never missed a chance to crack down on an infraction. "Would you like me to call them?" The boots. I just kept chewing the inside of my cheek. "Getting caught makes things easier, doesn't it? Takes away any responsibility?" I didn't know what she was talking about, but I figured she was trying to probe. I focused on Rachel and Sarah, even Crystal. I thought about every dirty thing I'd done and thought. Sharon looked disappointed. Not disgusted, not angry. Just sad. Something was different about her. She wasn't spewing her new age bullshit. Just sat there, waiting for me to speak. My mind started to drift to the cave, but I refocused. Thought about Danny, my drawings, the non-existent fish in the pond. I forced thoughts of Stephen, bald and frail in his white room. The picture of the swan. "Joe." "What?" "You can trust me." I hadn't even been thinking about the escape. But it seemed she already knew. That she'd known for a while. "Why do you think your father turned you in?" "I don't know." "Take a guess." "Because I'm a coward." Sharon's face squinched up, like she was mulling it over. "Seems strange, doesn't it? Your father turning you in for that? I mean, if he thought you were a coward, why would he send you here, where you could easily tell us about him?" It didn't make sense, but nothing ever did with him. "Everything I touch turns to shit," I said. He probably figured it was only a matter of time before I fucked up and he didn't want me to get hurt. So he took the necessary steps to make sure. "So your father loves you?" "What?" "He risked exposing himself, didn't he? Drawing attention to you. Put the spotlight on him. It seems pretty selfless. He must care about you an awful lot." I didn't want to let Sharon see me cry. I ran my fingers over the dried blood of my chin. "Why am I even here? I broke the rules. I should be in the cabin, right?" Sharon sighed. "That's correct." Then she leaned forward. "But you wanted to get caught, didn't you?" I honestly don't know why I'd stood up there like a maniac. "You didn't think it was fair to get out by yourself, did you?" How did she know about the escape? Her range was beyond mine, sure, but I'd been careful. "You didn't want Rachel to get hurt, right?" Rachel. She must have said something in one of their little check-ins. Sharon shook her head. "She never shared a single thought. You were afraid you'd squeeze at the edge, and they'd find you, putting Rachel in even more danger. She would have been shot for attempting to escape." "You have the wrong opinion of me. I'm a coward. I only think of myself." Sharon cocked her head, smiled. "I don't think so." Her perfect posture returned. Do you remember the first time you came to see me? I said I had a good feeling about you. And I said you were going to be disappointed. Just like every other woman dumb enough to get near me. I turned. The distant sound of the helicopter grew louder and louder, even shook the window. I saw the metal bird racing across the sky, figured it was bringing in more pathetic fuck-ups like me. But then, it started hovering, like it was looking for someone. Joe, I need you to look at me, Sharon said. Joe. I'd never heard Sharon's voice above a librarian's. My neck swiveled. Do you really want to go to the cabin? I pictured myself in the chair, sitting there catatonic, not a care in the world. Sharon's jaw clenched. Her mantra was failing her. You know what? Why don't we take a break? Sharon stood, threw some stuff in her purse. I'll be back in 5 minutes, and you can tell me your decision. She was really leaving me alone in her office. The door closed, and I sat there confounded, almost going out of my head. Was this some ploy? Some psychological mind game? The helicopter was still hovering. I got up, watched it circling around the square where the boots were patrolling. Something bad was going down. I turned, saw Sharon's desk, her stupid calendar of daily affirmations. Next to it was a letter. From my father. It was addressed to Dr. Sharon Appleton. I'm writing to you on behalf of my son. He's a good boy. Might not seem like it at first, but if you have patience, I have no doubt he can be everything you need him to be. Turning him in was the hardest decision I've ever made as a parent, and I will probably always wonder if I made the biggest mistake of my life. I will carry this guilt to my grave because I can't undo it. So, I only ask that you look out for him. I'm trusting you here. He's smart and has a good heart. He might not always act like it, but he knows right from wrong. And he'll make the tough decision when called. He's a soldier, just like his old man. The only other thing I ask is you don't tell him right away that I'm the reason he's there. He'll need time to adjust first. But when you feel he's ready, just let him know that I love him. Sharon closed the door. Your father's a good man. I tossed the letter on her desk. For turning me in? That's your definition? He's always been a good man. I stepped back. You know my father? I do. But I'm not going to say another word about it until I know your decision. The way she said it, I realized the cabin wasn't just a physical location. Sharon wanted to know if I'd rather bury my head, sit there drugged up, my mind a gentle sea, or if I was ready to hear the truth. You can't just dangle something like that. I didn't move, stood there, waiting. Sharon pointed to the seat. After a few seconds, I sat, knowing this was going to hurt. Stared out at the whirring helicopter. Just stood there, and I started to shift uncomfortably, suddenly afraid. It's okay, she thought. Then she silently began the tale, never once turning back, knowing if she looked me in the eyes, she'd never finish. According to her account, Sharon met my father 20 years ago at a small underground rally for people like us. Hardly anyone knew telepaths existed, but there were rumors, speculation. Some of us had been locked in loony bins, people like my grandmother. It's why Dad showed up in the first place. He was angry and alone. He sat in the back and listened to unspeakable stories of violence and fear, and everyone knew it was only going to get worse. After the meeting, Sharon went up to my dad and they shared their experiences. She asked if he wanted to be more involved. Dad said he couldn't, told her he had a family, a son with the same gift. He didn't want to draw attention, see anything happen to me. So, he left. But every so often, like once or twice a year, he'd seek her out, wanted to know how things were going, if there was anything he should know, prepare for, in order to protect his family. Sharon said he would have done anything to protect us. Then, the government created Brightside. They started rounding up thought thieves. Soon we'd all be on the mountain, or dead. Sharon and a few others arranged for friends to turn them in, to infiltrate. Only a few were selected, the ones with the strongest ability, able to quiet their thoughts, block everyone out so their secret would be safe. The selected offered themselves up, settled in, got chummy with the boots as hundreds of people from all over the country arrived by helicopter. These secret agents never let on, never aroused any suspicion, just quietly put themselves into positions of power. I'd moved out years before, and Mom hardly came home. So Dad volunteered to help the cause. They turned him down, though, because when they tested him, he couldn't keep it in. The secrets. He would have broken, slipped up. All of this would have been for nothing. Months went by, and Dad kept trying to join the fight. There was talk that Brightside wasn't sustainable, too expensive. Soon they'd have to start cutting rations, supplies. Eventually there'd only be one alternative: execution. Quietly, of course. America would never hear a word, although they probably wouldn't care if they did. That's when Dad decided to offer me up. Since I didn't know anything, I wouldn't be a liability. My entire head felt like it was about to implode. I couldn't feel my hands or legs, just this throbbing in my brain. Why would he... Michelle, Sharon thought. And slowly, it all fit together, just like Grandpa's shotgun. A week before I got to Brightside, Michelle said Dad had come over looking for me. She said he seemed panicked, asked for a drink. Said he sat there for an hour waiting for me, but I was working late, trying to boost my bonus. She turned on the TV, a newscast about Brightside. Michelle said she was trying to make conversation, talked a bit about how dangerous these people were. Dad said he agreed, but kept asking these strange questions. She thought he was just afraid like the rest of the country. But here, in Sharon's office, I knew Dad had been testing her. Michelle would have turned me in without hesitation, even called up her brothers to take care of me first. Michelle's mind made up Dad's. I couldn't breathe. Everything closing in, the walls. Sharon's stupid waterfall was all I could hear. Sounded like someone was pissing in my ears. I went for her desk, ready to tell Sharon to inject me to make everything calm, like Rachel was in the cabin. Joe, you need to calm down. My words to Rachel coming out of Sharon's mouth. I'm sorry, she thought. I saw my father's face, that big, dumb grin. I yelled at her and pressed my thumbs into my closed eyes, shoving them back into my skull. The door flung open. Demarius ran in, tackled me into the chair, pinned my arms. I kept fighting. Demarius pulled tighter. Enough, Sharon thought. I told you he was going to crack. Sharon bent down, touched my face like I was a child. No, he's not. Isn't that right, Joe? I thought about Mom, rubbing butter on my face. Joe, what's it going to be? Sharon asked. Let's just send this motherfucker to the cabin. Quiet. Sharon forced my eyes to hers. What's your decision? My father's voice flowing through my brain. Whatever you need. I found myself 10 minutes later in the lobby. I don't even remember the elevator. People were gathered outside the double doors. There were whispers about a death. I entered the fray wondering if they were talking about me. Robert was 4 feet in front of me, his big black microphone held to his throat, the wire traveling down to the brown box at his waist. He said, "Hey, Joe, you know what's going on?" The lack of inflection made it so you couldn't figure if Robert was asking or telling. "No idea." Wayne King escaped. The reason for the accelerated news, why Sharon and Demarius said we had to do this tomorrow night, the end of day 100. Their plan, my gun. "I'm going to catch him," Robert said. "Want to join my team?" Robert kept talking, but I couldn't hear with the helicopter directly overhead. The woods were only a few blocks away. Part of me wanted to say, fuck it, take off for the cave. Sharon, Demarius, and Dad could eat a big bag of shit. I hadn't meant to think it so close to Robert, but his eyes widened, knew what was rattling around my head. I started walking. The helicopter kept circling, scouring the town for Wayne. I kept thinking about taking off now, but I knew I wouldn't make it 50 feet before they caught me. I also couldn't leave Rachel behind. Not like this. She deserved better. All she did was believe in me, love me, wanted to take care of me, and I repaid her by ripping out her broken heart. I turned left. The cabin up on the hill, its windows open, all warm and inviting. "Come on in. Have a seat. Let your problems disintegrate." Rachel's building was up ahead. Sharon said to let her be, said I needed to get some rest. Sharon loved to talk, just like Dad. The two of them plotting and scheming to stick me up on this goddamn mountain. I knocked on Rachel's door. Kept knocking until her neighbor, Frances, came out and told me to shut the hell up or she'd call the boots. Frances looked like a man, with her chiseled jaw and thick, bushy eyebrows. I almost told her to go ahead. They'd never show. But I just walked out and headed for the diner, then Oscar's, then the park. I asked if anyone had seen her. No one had, except Nathan, the guy who proudly came to Brightside a virgin. And then he met Crystal. "She wasn't looking so hot," he said about Rachel. "That was a couple of hours ago, though." I thanked him and continued my search. I needed to find Rachel, apologize, beg her to take me back. We could escape tonight, leave Sharon, everyone in this fucking town. I kept moving, never stopping long enough to think about anything but Rachel. She was going to be pissed, but I'd tell her all the things she needed to hear. I meant it too, at least for the moment. That'd be enough. Sharon had given me a special cell phone, one that couldn't be traced. She told me to only use it if there was an emergency. I wanted to call Rachel, but she didn't have a phone. No one did but me. I wandered through the square, even back to Rachel's place, but she still wasn't there. I started thinking maybe she'd found some guy and they were busy getting sweaty paying me back. I didn't even notice the storm rushing in, but soon the sleet felt like needles. Thunder boomed. It was midnight and I could barely stand. Freezing, wet, and weak, I headed back to my place. The hallway light fixture was filled with so many bugs I could hardly see, but my nose was working fine. There was a new smell, a little ripe, like sweat, and something else. It grew stronger as I got to my door. That smell. The door did its usual creak, just a lot louder. The kitchen was dark, blinds keeping out most of the moonlight. I emptied my pockets onto the table, then locked the door. A sliver of light lit the first bit of hallway that led to the bedroom where the blinds were always closed. Everything looked normal as it can in the dark. It sounded like it should, too. Quiet. Everything was fine. Except for the smell. And that sliver. The tiny slice of light that made it hard to move. Someone was here. My first thought, Wayne. But the door had been locked. I went for the light switch, but it just flicked up and down. I said Rachel's name, but it came out soft and pathetic. I said it again, louder this time. Rachel was the only one with a key. No one answered. Just more nothing. Then, the tiniest plop. It took forever to move away from the door and get into the hallway. I stopped after 2 steps because the smell was all wrong. The next step was the hardest. The next one after that, even harder. The wall still blocking most of the bedroom. The wall ended with my next step. My hand fumbled around for the switch. This one worked. Threw light all over the room. I wish it hadn't. Oh God, I wish it hadn't. A body lay on the bed, but lying the wrong way. Legs hanging off the windowside. The plaid skirt bunched up around her underwear. Rachel's favorite Love-A-Lot Care Bear ones that she liked to dance around in. Her matching t-shirt that used to be white. The bear and its big heart drowning in blood. The outfit told me it was Rachel. Rachel without a face. The top of her head was gone. Her hair clumped beneath a ragged, hollowed-out bowl. A stream sliding down the comforter onto the carpet. I asked the stupidest question. What the hell did you do? I asked it again and again, but the answer was right there. I turned. The whole room was red. It started to spin. Slow, then fast. I held onto the wall, and it helped a little. But it was wet with something I wiped off without looking. God damn it, Rachel, what the hell did you do? Rachel didn't respond. Didn't have a mouth. But on the floor, I received my answer. The shotgun beneath her dangling feet. The stock lying in the puddle of piss. The lightest rain fell from the ceiling. It dripped, dripped, dripped onto the bed, her body, and what was left of her head. I wondered if the roof was leaking. But it wasn't rain. Up on the ceiling, Rachel left me a gift. She'd painted me the perfect Pollock. I fell onto her body. My face smashed against that bloody Care Bear. Thunder boomed outside the window. I wondered if that's what covered the blast. If someone had heard it, they'd be here. The bracelet her daddy bought for her was half submerged in the puddle by the pillow. The diamonds splattered crimson. They matched her ring. The only thing better than her diploma because the school couldn't take it away. Rachel didn't have a pulse. I was stupid to check. Her wrists still warm, so soft. Her hands so small, not squeezing back to say everything would be okay. That we could still live together, sprawl out on that beach. Something creaked in the hallway outside. Bootsteps. I pressed my cheek into the bedspread as if I was actually hiding, like a child who doesn't understand the physics of hide and seek. More bootsteps, muffled voices. Rachel's hand went back into the puddle. I pulled the rest of her closer, saw her jaw, the lower half of Love-A-Lot's smiling face, the top half shards on the ceiling. I waited for the knock. waited to see their expressions when they saw me cradling Rachel without a face. The light switch. I needed to turn it off, make them think I was sleeping, but I couldn't move. Every neuron dead, just like Rachel. The chair had a chunk of hair draped across the armrest. The boots getting closer. I closed my eyes, squeezed Rachel's chest, squeezing so hard I thought I might sink into her ribs, disappear forever. Why did I ever come here? The cabin was so close. All I had to do was walk in, and the nurses would take care of the rest. I'd never know about Rachel. Never. Suddenly, the boots were running. Each step softly, further down the hall until there was nothing. It was hard to stand without one hand on the wall. I looked around, needing a way to explain this in case they came back. There was nothing on the nightstand, the TV, the bathroom counter. No paper, something that said no one was to blame. But Rachel would never leave a note. That's what she told me one night at Oscars. She said people only wrote them to make other people feel better, which was bullshit. If she ever did it, she wanted everyone to know it was their fucking fault. Why did they ever let you out of the cabin, Rachel? Sharon had to know she was unstable. That this was a possibility. She didn't make the call on Rachel's release, but she gave her recommendation. Was this part of the plan? What the hell did Rachel have to do with our escape? I fell back against the wall, slid down until my ass was on the floor. Something was digging into my leg. The cell phone. I pulled it out, started to dial Sharon, but stopped. What if all of this was all a setup? She could just be waiting for me to call, so she could send Palmer and the rest of the fucking boots. But why tell me about the plan, then? Why tell me about my father if it was just to send me up here for Rachel's death? She could have sent me to the cabin. I even offered. My father, the man who turned me in, was the only person I could trust. Laughter sprayed from my lips. I looked over at Rachel's body, the blood and chunks of brain, and just lost it. Doubling over, cracking up because there was nothing left. I didn't need the cabin. I was already fucking gone. But it finally lost its amusement, the awfulness settling back in. I started dialing. "Hello?" Mom said. I couldn't speak. So tired. Shattered. "Joey? Is that you?" I took a deep breath, wiped back my hair wet with blood. "Hi, Mom." "Joey, what's going on?" My whole body shook. "I fucked up." "Joey? Come on. You're scaring me." "Yeah, well, I'm scaring me too." "Tell me what's going on. Are you okay?" "No, I'm not." I sucked air through my clenched teeth. Mom sat there, breathing, waiting. We both did, until she finally asked what I'd done. "Oh, I don't have enough minutes for that. Can I just talk to Dad, please? I just really need for him to get on the fucking phone." I'm going to call the doctor, okay? Is that what I should—" "No, Mom," I said, my voice not my own, wild and crazed like a man covered in his girlfriend's blood. I took a deep breath. "I just need you to get Dad. Can you just move and fucking grant me this one simple—" She sounded scared out of her mind when she said, "He's not here." Big inhale through the nose. "Okay. When do you expect him? Soon?" "He went—" "Where? He went where?" In the smallest voice, she said, Fishing? I felt like the top of my head was going to eject like some fighter jet, like Rachel's. He went fishing? Joey, he needed a break since he did this. It's been eating him alive. He's not well. It's killing him. My father's not well. I'm sitting on the floor covered in Rachel's flesh, and my father needs a vacation. Joey, whatever you've done, can you make it okay? No, Mom. I laughed. No, I don't think I can. Joey, listen to me. Are you listening to me? That voice from my childhood, the one that said if I didn't shut my mouth, she was going to smack me. I was 5 years old, sitting in the back of the Buick, my face burned and peeling. We were parked out in front of the school, the kids filing in, but I wouldn't budge. I don't wanna. I feel sick. My stomach. You're fine, she said. You just don't want to go with your face all messed up. But that was only part of it. I couldn't go back to all the voices, the thoughts, everything so loud I'd piss my pants. I didn't say any of that to Mom. She wouldn't have understood, or she'd think I was even crazier than she already did. That's why I just sat and scratched at my cheeks. She snapped. What did I say about that? I shoved both mittens back in my jacket. I forgot. Do you want to look retarded? You think they aren't going to make fun of the kid tearing off his face? The slushy gray playground was right outside my window. All the kids were out there, but I wasn't moving. I blew on my window, fogged it up with a white cloud, sunk down so low I couldn't see out. I knew what was waiting. All the laughter, the vicious taunts. I'd start crying, and they'd call me a little baby, and that would be even worse. Mom was back to smiling at herself in the rear view, her eyes not quite making it. She was back to sounding nice, too. Come on, Joey, you know the drill. The drill was, Mom pulled over, I got out. There was no holding hands, walking together to the gate. No kiss goodbye. But the drill was different this morning. I wasn't moving. Mom got something from her purse, brushed red on her cheeks until they matched her hair. You need to get going. Go learn your ABCs. We're not doing this anymore. My safe spot was warm. It wasn't totally safe, but far enough away so Mom would have to climb over the seat to swat. She wouldn't do that in front of the school. Not for a few more years. That's enough, she said. Mom flicked her eyes and played with the lashes, never once looking away. I'm wasting time and gas. I tried not to sound like a baby when I said, I hate school. I don't want to go. Mom turned the mirror, gave me her you little shit 5-second stare. You think I want to drive you here? You think I want to dress you in the morning and make you Lucky Charms? I knew a lot about Mom, way more than I wanted. I thought I knew her buttons, how far I could press them. That's why I said, Don't then. Mom spun around, gripped the back of her seat. God damn it, young man, if you make me get out of this car, I said. They're mean to me. Mom moved quicker than I'd ever seen, getting out and slamming her door, jerking on mine to see if it was locked. She stood there in her purple leotard, banged on the window with her fist. Open this right now! Mom was about to break through the glass. I slid across the seat, pulled the knob up, went right back to my spot. Mom opened the door, lowered her voice so other parents couldn't hear. It's freezing. Get out now. I looked away from Mom's chest, put my boots on the seat. I'm not going. Mom started talking way too sweet, like her goddamn perfume. Didn't care how much they both bothered me. Sometimes there are things you don't want to do, but you gotta do them anyway. Tamika's dad walked by, which explained Mom being nice. Mom turned toward him and waved. When Tamika's dad was far enough away, Mom snatched my ankle like it was some kind of snake, squeezed my boot like she was trying to choke it. "You're hurting me," I said. Mom kept her grip and yanked me across the seat. "Stop being such a sissy. Is that what you want all the other kids to think?" I stomped my foot as hard as I could, splashed yucky gray snow all over Mom's leg. Mom took a deep breath, blew it out, put those eyes on me, made me stare back. "What do you want, Joey?" She stood there, hands on her hips, nipples pushing out of that purple silk for everyone to see. "You want me to lie to you?" What I wanted didn't matter, because Mom was holding up her don't you dare finger. "I'll lie to you, if that's what you want," she said. "Say you look fine, that no one's going to make fun of you, that the world is the most wonderful place." Her one-woman pep rally wasn't making me feel any better, but that didn't slow her down. "You looking like this is nothing," Mom said. "You're going to get teased. You're going to get picked on. You're going to get beat up." I tried to say enough. I was ready for school, but Mom kept talking. "You're going to fall in love. You're going to have your heart broken. Your dreams are going to be squashed. That's life," Mom said. "That's the truth. So it's your choice, Joey. Do you want the truth or not?" If I knew what was coming, maybe I could prepare for it. I said, "The truth." Mom bent over at the waist and put her face close. Gave guys driving by something nice to stare at. Her eyes weren't trying anymore. The fight was over. But Mom still smiled when she took hold of my jaw and turned my face side to side. She ran her ice-cold fingers over my cheeks, brushed flakes of me into the slush. "When life sucks and gives you things you don't want, you've got to keep your chin up," Mom said. She kissed the top of my head. "And keep it up no matter what. You hear? Because people are depending on you." That's what Mom was saying on the phone. Me on the floor. Rachel's faceless head on the pillow. "You can never quit," she said. "Never."